Consumerism and prosperity in America post-war, so post the Second World War. Right, well I'm back to just talking with my hands again and everything now because I got bored of having a piece of paper in front of me, so I've gone back to basics. So, consumerism. It's all about what people wanted to buy. And just like in the 1920s, where there'd been a big economic boom, exactly the same thing happened after the Second World War and into the 1950s. But this time, people had TVs in the homes. So not only were there advertisements on the radios in the 1950s, they were also all over the TV. So every time there was a programme on, it was interspersed with lots of adverts. And the adverts, the people who wanted to advertise, sponsored the television programmes. So the important thing to know is people wanted to start spending again. It was all about spending, not saving. And consumerism and prosperity was all tied up with things like keeping up with the Joneses. I'm not kidding you, they would see somebody next door get the latest washing machine, they're like, oh, we need one of those. Or they'd see them get a new television, whoop, see the size of that television, that's what we're going to get. So even though they might not need a new one, they decided they need a new one just to be as good as the neighbours, or if not better than the neighbours. So people decided that goods like that would only last a number of years. I do that sometimes. I see something and think, oh, I definitely need a new one of those TVs because mine's getting a bit old now. So people wanted to refresh things. So they might have had a television for 3 years, then they look for a new television, or they look for a new vacuum cleaner, or a new washing machine. So all these things meant that consumerism became massive again in America. And there was another economic boom during this time. They even went back to using things like hire purchase, which you remember from the 1920s. So you put a little bit of a deposit down, whatever you had in your back pocket, oh, could be $20, so there you go, and then you pay the rest off over instalments. But don't confuse this with the 1920s. In the 1950s, people actually had the money to pay back the credit that they'd loaned. So they weren't then struggling to pay back the money that they owed, where obviously in the 1920s, there had been, and that all resulted in a huge Wall Street crash that took place then. So that we're clear about, the idea of prosperity, people started to live in the suburbs. So they had cars, they had nice homes, they had a family, the family life, the perfect family life. So all these things are things that people really latched onto because they wanted to have everything possible. And this all came on the back of really the fact that they'd just experienced a war, and some of the men had even had to go and fight in 1950 in the Korean War that was all tied up with the spread of communism. So now in the 1950s they really want to spend, keeping up with the Joneses, enjoy themselves. And the next podcast that you can have a look at is about the American dream. And there you'll see how that is all tied in with the idea of consumerism and prosperity in post-war America.